Welcome back. Let me tell you a horror story. It's not about ghosts, and it's not about a serial killer in the woods. It's about something much scarier. Buying a house in 2026. Picture this. You find the perfect house. It has 3 bedrooms, a nice yard, and the roof isn't actively caving in. You scrape together your savings. You beg your parents. You stop eating avocado toast for 5 years. You finally get pre-approved for a mortgage. You make an offer. You offer for $10,000. You write a heartfelt letter to the seller promising to raise your future children in the garden. And then, 24 hours later, the realtor calls you. "I'm sorry," she says. "We went with another offer." "Did they offer more money?" you ask. "Actually, no," she says. "They offered the same amount, but they paid in all cash, hot. No inspection, closing in 7 days." You sit there wondering, who has $10,000 in cash lying around? Is it a drug dealer? Is it a tech billionaire? No, it's likely a pension fund from Canada or a private equity firm from New York. You didn't lose that house to another family. You lost it to a spreadsheet. Welcome to the era of the corporate landlord. Wall Street has moved out of the stock exchange and into your cul-de-sac. Companies like Blackstone, Invitation Homes, and American Homes for Rent are buying up America block by block. They are turning the American dream of homeownership into a monthly subscription service that you can never cancel. Today, we are going to investigate how hedge funds became the world's worst roommates. We will look at the algorithms they use to snatch homes before you even see the listing, the nightmare of fee stacking, and why we are rapidly moving toward a society that looks suspiciously like medieval feudalism with Wi-Fi. To understand how we got here, we have to go back to the scene of the crime, 2008. The housing market crashed. Millions of Americans lost their homes to foreclosure. Banks were holding on to thousands of toxic assets, houses they didn't want. At the same time, the U.S. government said, "Please, someone buy these houses so the market stops bleeding." Enter private equity. Firms like Blackstone showed up with dump trucks full of cash. They said, "We'll take them, all of them." They bought houses in Atlanta, Phoenix, and Las Vegas for pennies on the dollar. At the time, they said, "We are just stabilizing the market. We will fix them up and sell them back to families." Spoiler alert, they did not sell them back. They realized something brilliant and evil. If you own the stock market, the value goes up and down. It's risky. But if you own people's shelter, that is a captive audience. People need a roof. If you raise the rent, they can't just decide not to live. So they kept the houses, and then they bought more and more. Today, institutional investors own hundreds of thousands of single-family homes, and they aren't buying rundown shacks anymore. They are buying the starter homes that you want. They target the sweet spot: 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, good school district, price range $300K to $500K. This is exactly the inventory that first-time homebuyers are fighting for. So when you enter the market, you aren't competing against other humans. You are competing against a multi-billion-dollar corporation that views your living room as an asset class on a balance sheet. Now, you might ask, how can a company in New York manage 80,000 houses? Who fixes the toilet? The answer is technology. These companies have automated being a landlord. First, the buying process. They don't send a guy named Steve to look at the house. They use algorithms. They scrape real estate data in real time. The second a house hits the MLS, multiple listing service, in a target zip code, the computer analyzes it. Price? Check. Rent potential? Check. Crime rate? Check. If the math works, the computer can automatically generate a cash offer within hours. By the time you get off work to go see the house, the corporation has already bought it. Second, the management. Have you ever tried to call a corporate landlord? It's harder than canceling a gym membership. There is no property manager to talk to. There's a portal. Toilet broken? Submit a ticket in the app. Rent due? Auto pay in the app. Lease renewal? The algorithm calculates exactly how much they can raise the rent without you moving out. They have optimized the extraction of value. This leads us to a new phenomenon called fee stacking. In the old days, you paid rent, maybe a pet fee. Now, smart home fee, $30 a month for a Ring doorbell you didn't ask for. Air filter fee, $15 a month. They mail you a filter you have to install yourself. Portal fee, $5 a month, a fee for the privilege of paying them money. Valet trash fee, $25 a month. They are nickel and diming tenants to death because they have a fiduciary duty to their shareholders to squeeze every dollar out of the property. You're not a resident, you are a revenue stream. There is a common defense for these companies. They say, "We provide professional, high-quality rental housing for people who want flexibility." Professional is a strong word. Let's talk about maintenance. If you rent from a mom-and-pop landlord, maybe a nice retired couple, they care about the house. It's their retirement asset. If the roof leaks, they fix it because they don't want the house to rot. A corporation thinks differently. They think in terms of capital expenditure, CapEx. If the AC breaks, the algorithm asks, what is the cheapest way to make this legal? They have centralized maintenance call centers. They hire the cheapest contractors. There are horror stories of tenants waiting weeks for hot water or living with mold because the corporate approval process for repairs takes forever. And here is the kicker. They often push the maintenance onto you. Read the lease carefully. Many corporate leases now say that the tenant is responsible for minor repairs under $100 or landscaping or pest control. So you have all the downsides of renting, you don't own it, and all the downsides of owning, you have to fix it. It's the worst of both worlds. But buying existing houses was just phase one. Phase two is here, and it's called build to rent. Corporations realize that fighting over individual houses is inefficient, so they are partnering with giant home builders to construct entire neighborhoods, specifically for renting. Imagine driving through a beautiful new subdivision, fresh pavement, nice lawns, a playground, but you cannot buy a single house in there. Every single one is owned by the developer or a hedge fund. It looks like the American dream. It smells like the American dream, but it's a hologram. You will pay $3,000 a month to live there. Your kids will grow up there. You will mow the lawn. But after 30 years, you will leave with nothing. Zero equity. Meanwhile, the corporation has used your rent money to pay off the construction loan and now owns the asset free and clear. This is fundamentally changing the structure of American society. Homeownership was the number one way the middle class built wealth. It was a forced savings account. If that ladder is kicked away, we return to a feudal system. A small class of lords, asset owners, and a massive class of serfs, renters, who give half their harvest, paycheck, to the lord for the privilege of sleeping on his land. Why is this happening now? Because Wall Street is looking for yield. Bonds pay nothing, stocks are expensive. But Americans will always need to sleep somewhere. They call it the securitization of rental income. They bundle your rent payments into a bond and sell it to investors. Your monthly check is paying a retiree in Norway or a banker in London. The defenders say, but some people want to rent? True. Renting is great if you are a student or moving for a job or simply don't want the hassle of repairs. But let's be real. Most families renting single-family homes aren't doing it because they love the flexibility of rent hikes. They are doing it because they cannot buy. And they cannot buy because they are bidding against the same company that wants to rent to them. It's a monopoly on shelter. If Blackstone owns 20% of the houses in a specific zip code, and in some neighborhoods in Atlanta they do, they can effectively set the market price. If they raise rent by 10%, you can't just move next door because they own that one too. So, is this the end? Are we doomed to live in Blackstoneville? There is some pushback. Some homeowner associations, HOAs, are banning corporate buyers. They are rewriting their rules to say you must live in the house for 12 months before you can rent it out. Congress is floating ideas about banning hedge funds from owning single-family homes, the End Hedge Fund Control of American Homes Act. But money talks, and the lobby for these companies is incredibly powerful. For now, the reality is stark. If you're trying to buy, you need to be faster, smarter, or look in areas the algorithms haven't found yet. And if you are renting, read that lease, check who the owner is. Because there is nothing more American than a faceless corporation raising your rent by 15%, because an algorithm in New York said the market could bear it. The sign on the lawn says, for rent, but the sign on the economy says, sold out. Let me know in the comments. Have you ever lost a bidding war to a cash offer? Or do you live in a corporate-owned home? Tell me your horror stories. And please, like and subscribe, because unlike your rent, my subscription price is always zero. See you in the next one.